Well, Roger, Val, Chio, Rio. We got Susan F. coming in the rear. Midwest Night Watchers. Hello there, everybody. And I know Cheyenne's in the background watching. Hello, John Lamb. So welcome, everybody. And let's see there. Barb, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Grizzly. How are you? You staying cool?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's good.
Wonderful.
Did you get any of those crazy storms that went through last night?
Yeah, a few of them. It was kind of crazy, wasn't it?
We didn't get them out here in Washington State, but my gosh, so many of my friends, around the nation and really, oh my gosh, my hometown of Berwick, Pennsylvania it got hit, and they don't get storms like that in northeastern Pennsylvania. They're kind of in the mountains. They don't get those kind of storms. You're used to in the South and in the, Midwest, crazy stuff, but
right. So welcome everybody. So what we got going on today?
So today we have Russell Wiltala. I hope that's how you say it. Wiltala. He just told me before.
Right.
All right. He's giving me the thumbs up. Good. So let's bring him in.
Well, come on down, sir. Welcome. How are you doing today?
Hi, Russell.
Great job on my name.
All right.
Yeah, right.
That's a rarity. You got it right.
So introduce yourself and tell us a little background and all about yourself there.
My name's Russell Wiltala, and I'm a retired postal worker. I retired when I was 55, which is 17 years ago now. And,
awesome.
Good for you, though. Oh,
yeah, and it's funny because you retire and then you think, oh, I got all this time. I feel it was something.
Yeah.
At the time, I was, an avid snow skier, and I was a pilot and so on and so forth, but I still thought I had more time. So, plus participating in theater. So anyway, I'm out walking right after I retired, and a friend said, did you hear about the family that saw the Sasquatch up here? And I went, what? I hadn't even thought of it. I mean, it really wasn't into my head at all. Yeah. And the next thing out of my mouth was, you want to go looking for Bigfoot? So that's how it started.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I thought it was spontaneous, but the more I learn, it seems like they might have had me pegged for a long time.
Yeah. It sure sounds like it. Because I read your kind of bio. Yeah. What would you say, Grizzly? What? Yeah.
They're whispering to you.
Yeah. Because I read your biography, and he does have a webpage at Sasquatch-shaman.com, and I will put that in the permanent comments after the show. It's Sasquatch Shaman of the Woods, which I had that wrong in the promo, and I really apologize because I had the Sasquatch Shaman of the Woods, but like Russell said, if you search it that way, you may get it wrong. So
I'm also on Facebook, by the way.
Oh, yes, you are. Yeah. Is it okay if people contact you through Facebook like that too? Okay, great. You also have a YouTube channel by your same name, right?
Yeah, I do. And I go by my name on that. So
yeah.
If you want to look up any of my stuff, you look up my name. I don't know. Once I got into this stuff, I just never made the switch, and everything's on there.
Russell Easterbrooks. We have our other Russell that we love. Russell, oh my gosh, Russell, we love you. And your YouTube channel is fantastic. Like, wow. So everybody, go and check that out. He has some great, got some great vocals and just some great, beautiful, scenery. But I was reading that you actually lived in the area where the Patterson Gimlin film was.
When I was young, between the ages of 12 and 17, I think I lived just a few miles across the border from Bluff Creek, maybe less than 50 miles,
Wow.
Had no idea. Well, I remember when it happened. I remember in looking at Argosy, I read the article in Argosy, and was mildly fascinated, but then it just, it floated away and disappeared. And I had one incident in the early 80s that I now know was a Sasquatch, but I didn't know at the time. So,
what happened? Can you tell us?
I was out fishing, and rocks were coming off of a ridge, and I actually hiked up a half mile, and they still were coming off the ridge. And I'm thinking,
What?
It couldn't be a bear. And I know it couldn't be a cougar because cougars follow behind and they're quiet. And so the only other option was bear. And why would a bear be paralleling me like that? And
and throwing rocks.
throwing rocks.
Yeah,
Exactly. It was just a puzzle. I didn't even think of Bigfoot, and of course, once I started interacting with him, I went, oh, okay. Now I know what happened.
Wow. Well, you spent time in the Navy, and we want to thank you for your service too. Thank you. I wanted to mention that. So, and then you went on to become you went to college after that, right? You went on to be a commercial fisherman with your dad. And so and like you said, pilot, all kinds of things.
Oh, I've done a lot.
It's really interesting that just that report of the neighbors.
I just released a new single, by the way. I heard the hard rock at the beginning.
Cool.
Hard, but it's out there now. You look it up.
All right.
Oh, awesome.
But it's called her name is Zoe, and my band name is Skellring. So
okay.
If anybody's interested,
didn't know that. Yeah, I'm gonna put that down too.
It's actually trending pretty well, by the way. I'm amazed. It's the first single I've ever released in my life, and it's like,
that's so cool. Wow. Yeah, talk about a whole new life, right? In your retirement, man, you're busy.
That's what you're supposed to do, when you retire.
Yep.
Do
That
everything.
is absolutely right. Yeah. Yep. My husband and I were watching a show last night. It's actually the show Alone. I don't know if you guys watch it. It's fantastic. I love it.
I watched
Alone. Yeah, and the one that we were watching was Alone Australia, which was also really cool. But the reason I'm saying that is the guy said something about he just retired and he was 66, and he said something about, did you know most people die within 6 years of their retirement? And I don't know. I mean, is that true even in the U.S.? I'm like, that's so terrible. That's so
law enforcement's it's shorter than that.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, and so, my husband's planning on retiring next year. So I'm like, let's go, dear. You gotta, we gotta get out there and don't want to put that off. Right.
Yeah. I live a very humble life because I retired early, but hey, it's been worth it. Trust me. I mean,
that's fantastic.
Perfectly happy camping out there instead of running my route.
Yeah, for sure. That's for sure. So, all right. So, so tell us my gosh, all the things that you've seen and heard and learned.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I want to talk about is, first of all, the connection I made. And, I looked for 4 years before anything happened. I found nothing in 4 years. I had a buddy, the buddy I was talking about earlier. His name's Russell Wilson, by the way.
Oh, okay. I know him. Yeah, I know Russell. Yeah, I know of him. Yeah.
Not the quarterback, but anyway.
Yeah, right.
and we looked a lot together, but I was out 2-3 times a week looking, and it's nothing. And then I had the thought that I was going to quit because I thought, this might be beyond me, which surprised me because I was so confident at the beginning. And then all of a sudden they were everywhere.
Wow.
So they heard me. They must have heard me because all of a sudden, first thing that happened is I had a smell, heard 3 knocks. I went home, called my buddy, and I said, hey, I finally had an interaction, and I think I can find them. I don't know why I thought that, but I think it was they planted it in there. Mm-hmm. And the first place we went, they were there.
Oh, wow.
A whole family, a family of 5. And so now we're trying to figure out what to do, right? And so I thought, well, we're musicians. Why not come out and play a little music and see what happens, And the first time I played, the first night I played my guitar, played some Pink Floyd. My buddy says they love echoes. My acoustic version of echoes. So, okay. So anyway, I was putting the guitar away and I heard right over my left shoulder, and I mean, it was close. A little girl sounded like going, oh
my gosh,
like that. And I went, whoa, now I know what we can do out here. So I play every time I go out, I play for him. Even done it in the rain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I always make sure they get that, and they consider that a gift. They stopped taking my gifts. In fact, I think because that's what they consider a gift.
Oh.
But then so after a while, I was visiting this rock that I was pretty sure that I Sasquatch had put on this stump. And it's like, it's a arduous walk. It's hike. It's like almost 8 miles and almost 1,000 feet elevation gain. But I was going up there and putting rocks next to his rocks. And every time I go up there and check, mine were off.
Oh, wow.
Mine were completely gone. I couldn't even find rocks to put on there with it. So it was just this one rock sitting on there. And I finally figured out that it was a memorial, And so, in fact, he called at me one time too. Called a couple times, sounded like a human, but I knew it wasn't, And so I gave it respects, paid my respects. Next time I went out, I got this gift.
Oh my God. That is incredible.
They left that in the trail, so I would find it. And it's even more gorgeous than it looks on the camera.
Beautiful. That's cool. Is it quartz?
It's yellow quartz, citrine, I think they call it, or something.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. And so I took it home, and the first time I meditated with it, but I also meditated with this shaman stone that I'd found years earlier, which I hidden in my roll top desk, and I don't even know why. And and when I got this gift, I remembered this gift. And so I went in there and got it and brought it out and started looking at it. And there's a perfect representation of a flying saucer carved on it.
Oh my gosh.
Along with a bunch of other stuff. So flying saucers, UFOs, and Sasquatch come together. And just the other night, we saw orbs when we were out. Floating through the woods after they called and left. So they do come together. And so anyway, I took the shaman stone and it's carved. So it's got finger. It's meant to be held like this by a right-handed person. That's how precise this thing is. And so I held this. I put this on my chest. I meditated. First time I meditated, something jumped out of either one of these. I'm not sure. Hit my wall and knocked over a piece of furniture in my bedroom.
Oh wow.
So yeah. And for 13 months afterwards, every time in the morning when I'd wake up, I wake up early, so a lot of times before it gets light out, and I go reach for my glasses, and this blue dielectric beams would come off of my fingers and reach the glasses before I got to the glasses.
Oh my God.
So there was power in this. They injected some power into it, and it lasted for about 13 months. And now there's still power in it. I mean, and I'm not saying there isn't, because I really think they can communicate through this thing too. I put this on my chest every night for at least a little while, and I'm not necessarily meditating, but I just put it on my chest and hold it.
Yeah.
I thank them regularly for their interaction and their gifts. A lot of times I get barred feathers.
Oh yeah. Oh wow, cool.
A lot of barred feathers. They for some reason they like to communicate with those barred owl calls.
Yes, they do, for sure.
And you listened to that one where they were right in my campsite, and they're oh my gosh, they were loud. They were loud, and they're right above my head. I can't see them. That's the only place I didn't have mesh, so they're hanging out up there. And I just recently met Robert Pyle, the one who the Dark Divide, the movie was made about.
Oh,
and, he had some. He was actually looking for butterflies, but while he was going through the Dark Divide, he had a few Sasquatch.
Oh wow!
Incidents. He didn't really say they were, but that's what they were. I know what they were.
Yeah, you're like, sorry, but that's that's what they were.
And I played some recordings of that for him, and he said, "Well, those are barred owls."
Oh,
and I thought, well, but I didn't get a chance to talk to him and tell him, no, they aren't, because you can actually hear them moving around. And barred owls, their feathers, they don't make a sound, so you wouldn't hear the barred owls flying around,
right?
And they're moving around. They're actually, shuffling around. You can hear them.
Yes, crunching around, breaking sticks. Also, I don't think usually like a group of barred owls doesn't kind of hang out and communicate.
No. In fact,
right? I mean,
I have one YouTuber where the barred owls are far away and the coyotes are right next to my camp, and then they switch places.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Wow. So the coyotes were the juveniles, And the barred owls were the adults way off in the distance, and then they switched
Wow.
halfway through the recording. So
Wow.
they don't do that either.
No, that right. Wow.
Yeah.
So you've heard the juveniles then mimic coyotes. Somebody was asking me that, and I said, I don't know. I've heard coyotes, but I don't know whether they were. Wow.
Oh yeah. Well, early on, I had an exchange with one fairly local, and I was hiking up from this place called Moose Lake, and I came around this sharp corner, and I heard on the other side of the corner a coyote call. Well, I was just there, and I thought, coyotes don't do that. That's weird. So I called back. He called back. I called back. He called back. I called back. Then I thought, you know what? I'm going to give him a pattern. So it's like a woo, 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 woo. And then he came back exactly the same. Now that was more like an owl. Sorry.
But that's not, coyotes don't do that.
I changed the pattern 3 times, and he imitated the pattern each time.
Oh my gosh.
So after that, I couldn't quite see him. It was too, because just right there. I mean, he's like just a few yards away, but I just, kind of laughed and said, okay, that's enough. Have a great day. And that was it. That was pretty early on.
Wow. So that's all right. Yeah. So what else? Oh my gosh.
Well, let's see. I got all kinds of things. Okay. So the other thing was when we first, and I used to do this, I used to do the research thing. I don't consider myself a researcher now. I can consider myself more of a student, because once we made this connection, I went out there and just, what do you got to show me?
Right.
And they've shown me some incredible things. Right up there, in fact, near where I got this. In fact, I got to go the same road to get there. I was on one ridge, and I heard a tree go down on another ridge. And I thought, oh, and I call him teacher now. And I said, my teacher wants me to go over there for some reason. I don't know why. It's too far to go today, so I'll go tomorrow. So the next day I hiked up there, and I'm looking around for stuff. And he had left me three prints in this frozen leaves.
Oh, wow.
Really cool. And I got a picture of one of them. But then, of course, they're frozen. And that night it rained. So so they're all gone. They're really, really mysterious out here. They're very secretive. So anyway, I get up on the ridge, and I'm looking around. I see this tree with this strange configuration on it. It looked like someone had taken an axe and chopped off little chunks, about 4 or 5 across and about 5 or 6 down. I can't really remember. And I thought, wow, that's interesting. And then there was 2 gouge marks underneath that looked like they were done with an elk horn. And so I took a picture of it, and I was just about to go to the Montana Vortex and visit my friends Joe and Tammy. And I thought, well, I'll show Joe this picture, because I don't think there's any animal out here that would do that, And it was too high for an elk to gouge, so I knew it wasn't an elk. So a couple of days before I left, I was going to check the picture, make sure I had it, and I look in there and I can't find it. And well, I know where it's at. I'll just go up there and take another picture. So because I knew exactly where it was, I hike up there and it's gone. Along with a couple other trees. And there's one I remember leaning this way. So there's actually 4 trees missing, like they never existed.
Wow.
There was no stumps. There was no, disturbing of the ground or anything. They just weren't there. And so I think that was a lesson. I think they slipped me into another timeline. Is what that was. That was a Mandela effect, is what they call it. Wow. Very strange, huh? I've also had time manipulation in my house. I have to mention though that they do come with UFOs. When we first started investigating, we put a wildlife camera out and a box of Kentucky Fried Chicken in a tree across the way. How could they resist that, right?
Yeah, right.
They got to come and get that. And so, we're pretty confident we're going to get a picture, right? Boy, that's way back, by the way. But anyway, Instead, something came, and this is out in the middle of nowhere, and was shining a beam down at the wildlife camera for 22 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Going around and shining from different angles, like it was trying to figure out what is that.
Oh.
And the reason why the camera was getting triggered is there was a wind from the south that was blowing one of the branches that was holding the Kentucky Fried Chicken. So it kept triggering the camera. And so we joked, we got that back and looked at it. And we thought, that's crazy. We thought we were going to get a picture of a Sasquatch, and instead we get a UFO, or what was it? Because, being a pilot, there was no downwash.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a helicopter. And nobody would hover a helicopter out there for 22 minutes anyway. That's
and why? Why? Not to look at a box of Kentucky Fried Chicken or whatever. Right?
Yeah. So anyway, so the two come together, and it wasn't long after that we were coming back from a band practice from Elma, Washington, and a very bright UFO flew right over us almost. I was right in the middle of a sentence. It just went, what the, is that? and it did a kind of it slowed up. At first it was going really fast. It slowed up, did a ascending turn that way, and then turned back across the freeway. And we had it in sight for like 8 minutes. And much later, I learned that it was actually taking a very similar route as a UFO took that crashed in Westport. And that's a very little known incident, but there is a book out about it, and I've read the book. It's a good book.
Wow.
And again, the usual thing, all the military came and cordoned off everybody and put it on a big flat bed and covered it and took it away. So that's what happens, with those things.
Yeah. Yep. Yes. We hear that, don't we, Grizzly? Oh,
yes,
boy.
we do.
Yeah. So I've seen UFOs in the day and the night, seen all kinds of orbs. It just comes with the territory. I've even seen ghosts now. And I think, it may be this, because it was after this that, that I had a ghost incident. I actually saw a ghost in the old playhouse. I'm sort of a catalyst for this thing now, because I had 12 kids in there. I was directing a youth play that I wrote, and
wow.
And a ghost ran right up the middle aisle and around a girl, and she saw it all the way. One girl saw it. So four of us, of the dozen people or so that were there, 4 of us could see it. The others couldn't.
Nobody else could. Wow.
No, but they could hear it, because it ran across the stage. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And I saw it actually twice that night. And so we did some ghost investigations, and it turns out that he committed suicide in the building when it was under construction. Back in 1911.
Oh, wow.
And so we called him Oscar. We've moved out of that place now. We got a new playhouse, but so it was kind of an interesting place to be in, because a lot of things would happen. You'd hear, someone clear their throat right behind you or something. Oscar, he was kind of a trickster. He loved it.
Oh, wow.
We have
question. Go ahead, Grizzly.
We have a question. Have you seen sky rods or anything like that, or skyfish?
Okay, well, actually, the other night I saw something kind of strange. This was my last night out. This was last Thursday.
Okay.
I haven't been out for a week, and I need to get out again. But anyway,
camping. You can't wait to get.
I had my friend with me, and we camped that night, and they were real quiet because there were a lot of people camping out there. It's a weekend, so people were within earshot. So they were knocking a couple times. They pushed a tree over, which was kind of cool. So later that night, I'm laying in my bed, and I don't put a rain fly on my tent unless I have to.
Okay.
Even then, sometimes not. I'll get rained on. But anyway, I'm looking out my tent and at the stars and stuff, and I'm thinking it's dead silent. And so I'm thinking, now would be the time to push a tree down. A tree gets pushed down.
Oh, wow.
And then right after that, I see a streak go across the top of a tree. And I, there's nobody else out there. So, and there's nobody flashing a flashlight or anything. So, it was It was about that wide, I'd say, and
Oh.
it just went through. It went by the tree. That's all I saw. But it was the same place we saw orbs about a month earlier, floating through the woods. And they changed colors a little bit.
I was just going to ask you that.
Yeah, blue and orange.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, all right.
But I've seen huge orbs. I mean, gigantic orbs.
And you see them with your naked eye, like with.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and
wow.
I recorded them. They're on my YouTube channel. I'm not sure what they're called, UFOs on the horizon or something like that. But anyway, that particular one. But yeah, they had to be huge because I knew they were at least 5 miles away because they dipped behind a ridge that I knew how far the ridge was from me, you know, and they were really visible. And I mean, they had to be 10 feet wide. I don't know, but they're big.
So do you think that was some kind of a, like a UFO or UAP? Like,
I'm not sure. A few minutes before that, I was on the other side of the ridge. I was coming over, and I heard a Sasquatch call. I had stopped over there and hung out for a little bit, and I heard a Sasquatch call. And so it was just a few minutes after that, but, I'm not sure, but I know they knew I was out there, and that was, for my benefit, for sure. Yeah. I'm positive of that. It wasn't just happenstance.
Yeah. Wow. So have you ever gotten any message? Like, what do you think is the connection? Have they ever given you any messages?
Yeah, I don't receive messages well enough to discern that. I get feelings, and they come to me in dreams once in a while. And I know that's true because, oh boy, do I have a dream to tell you.
All right.
I went camping, and this was early in the season, my first camp trip. And I know it was my friends, Jacques, Cece, and Peter. This was up in the Olympics. And they came into the campground because there's I was in one loop, and there was a couple in another loop, and that was it. The rest of the campground was empty. Cool. So I came in and started calling, and I couldn't see him. It was too dark to see him, but I stood up. I'd been playing my guitar. I stood up and faced him, and then it was actually Peter and Jacques at first, and CC, he always pumps everything up. So when he joined, everything got pumped way up. And I actually got a little adrenaline rush, because it was so wild and crazy. And so I sent him a message. I said, wow, that scared me a little, And that night, I'm laying in my tent. I'm thinking I'm awake. And I feel these hands come under me. And I have sleep paralysis. I can't move. And I just, the adrenaline, just rushed, just hit me really hard. And then I heard a voice, Russell, calm down. And this is what's weird. The fear drained from the top of my head right out the toes.
Wow.
Just a very strange sensation. And then I was fine. And he picked me up, and I faced him. And then we were communicating for a while telepathically. And then I said something out loud. I said, gee, I feel really lucky to have you as a friend. And at that, he imitated a puppy and started running and licking my face like a puppy.
Oh my gosh. Whoa.
I know. At the time, I'm not even thinking it's crazy. I'm just laughing.
Yeah.
I'm thinking,
That's cute.
And I wake up, and the three of them are about 50 yards away singing to me, blending their voices in various animal sounds. And I don't have that recorded, unfortunately. I do have some of it recorded, but it's not very good. But I do have some, and it's on YouTube. But anyway, of similar, stuff. But anyway, I was telling this lady I met who, I have friends in the southern part of the Olympics, and she has friends in the northern part of the Olympics. And so I met her at a summit, and I'm talking to her about it, and I told her my dream because I just had it not too long before. And she goes, oh my God, my friend told me she just had the same dream.
Oh my gosh. Whoa.
I have another question for you. Russell's asking you, have you heard them chatter or talk to each other?
Yes. Heard them.
And what do they sound like?
Much, but talk like humans talk, but in a language you can't understand. And when we used to play, they would actually almost sing along and tap along with the music sometimes. But yeah, when we were up there playing, they were so close that we could hear them talking to each other. The men were always on one side, and the mother and the daughter on one end, and the father and the two sons on the other, and we could hear them talking to each other. And that's how we knew who was what. And after a while, we took a census, or we kind of figured out, okay, what do you think we're dealing with here? What kind of family group are we dealing with? Everybody agreed. It was mom, dad, two boys, and the youngest is a daughter.
Oh, wow.
So that's what you can discern, just by hearing them. But I've heard them many times, other places too, many times. Crazy number of times, actually.
Wow. I have a question. Speaking of that, have you ever heard any of them make it's almost like not a robotic voice. It's more of like if you're listening to an old tape recorder and like squeals kind of, what the tape will squeal. And have you ever heard anything like that?
I've heard so many crazy audios. That's a possibility. A few times I've heard, they can imitate anything. I've heard when I know I'm out there all alone, there's nobody around. I've heard a gate to a pickup close. It sounds like a gate to a pickup. And you go, there's nobody out here. How do they do that?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Well, and a friend of mine was called by his wife one afternoon, and went in there and and she's
whoa.
I didn't call you. So they can do things like that.
What about sign language?
Yeah. Now I do exchange glyphs with them. I put glyphs out. I put one out that was an X. And a few weeks later, I went back and checked it, and they had taken the top stick and broken it and placed it down so that it looked like an H or a chair. And I finally found that in another Sasquatch book, actually. But I finally found that in ancient Iberian, that means protector.
Oh, cool.
And I do feel like they protect me out there. There's no doubt about it. They watch over me like a hawk.
Wow.
Maybe
have you ever seen them like with each other use? Have you ever witnessed? Is that what I think that's what Russell Easterbrooks was talking about? Use sign language almost like to communicate with you. Or
yeah. I've seen them over a dozen times. I've never seen more than one at the same time.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's the way it goes,
And we have another question. Do you ever research in states other than Washington, and have you found differences?
Well, yes, I've been to. I've actually saw one in Northern California with my great nephew. He saw it too, so that was great. That was about a 10-footer. That was just outside of Happy Camp in Northern California. We were traveling to Cave Junction on that highway, that lonely lost highway. I don't know the name of it, but hardly anybody goes on it. So California, Oregon, Washington, and Montana. Okay. And I just drive through Idaho, so I've never had an incident there. But in 4 different states and 30 different locations plus.
Wow. Before we go deeper into that, Pamela had asked, she said, did I miss Russell's connection to Montana vortex? Did you mention that?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh yeah. Well, I went there this year. I really want to talk about the first time I went. Okay. I'd met Joe, and I felt compelled to go. It was something I had to do. I knew. Wow. And it took me over a year to get an opportunity to go, but I did go. And this is kind of a weird thing because I had this number 327. I don't know why, but if someone asked me what my number was, I could tell them it's 327. I don't know why. In fact, the first time I went to a Sasquatch summit, I just, I knew all the rooms were rented out, but I thought, well, maybe someone canceled. So I went up and asked, anybody cancel? And she said, yeah, we have one cancellation. It was room 327. Oh my God. I got the biggest chill on earth, man. I'm telling you. But anyway, when I went to the vortex, when I was leaving, let's first talk about what happened there.
Okay.
We go out at night, because Joe is a friend of mine. So we went out at night, and there were doors opening and closing by themselves. Saw unattached shadows.
Wow.
Let's see. We were in the what they call the House of Mystery, hanging out in there talking, just leaning up against the window talking, and we could hear it grumble behind us. And Joe goes, "Do you hear that?" And I said, "Yep, he's right there." And there's a cloaked Sasquatch in there with us. And he actually got a really good video of one in there.
Oh, cool.
He put a camera up there right after that and got one. It was all in white, though. It was like bright light is what it was.
Oh, wow.
But you could see the shape of a Sasquatch, You
Was
could see the cone head, no neck, and the big shoulders.
Was his camera IR or just a regular?
I don't think so. I'm not sure. I don't think it was IR. I don't think so. But anyway, then the thing morphed into a mist, floated up, and disappeared.
Oh my gosh, incredible.
So we're dealing with something, we're dealing with beings that are very powerful. They're master manipulators of energy, is what I've come to the conclusion of. That's not even the strangest thing I've experienced, by the way. Well, I didn't experience it. I saw the video, but I saw a bear jump through a portal once and disappear.
Oh my gosh.
And I was driving at the time, but after that, I checked this chart on this book that I just got from the Montana Vortex. And on this chart, a demarcation line went right approximately where I was at when I saw that bear jump through the portal. Oh, so I think I was in the middle of reading that book. So I think what they're saying is take this book seriously.
Oh, that's good.
I'm not sure exactly how they did that.
Yeah.
That they can shapeshift. I've heard stories, people seeing them shapeshift.
We've heard of that too.
Yeah. So that's the only explanation I can come up with. And by the way, you could not see the portal. I mean, it was just like nothing there. It just disappeared like an invisible wall.
Wow.
Disappeared. Wow. I stopped the car and looked right where the portal was, and there's nothing there.
Oh my
and there was no place for the bear to hide either, by the way.
Yeah.
It was a slope, and there was hardly any vegetation on it whatsoever.
Yeah, not like the bear was in on it, and like I'm a magician.
Yeah,
look, watch me disappear.
No, no, he disappeared into a portal.
Gee, that's incredible.
There's. I also want to mention this too, by the way, and when we're talking about the connection with ET or whoever. Elementals and Sasquatch and us. I had the suspicion that I was being taken. I came to that suspicion about a year and a half ago, and so I asked them if they could show me some way if they were taking me, right? Because I really feel I volunteered for this thing, whatever this is. I'm not sure yet, but I think it has to do with vortex fields and magnetism and portals, and I've studied those for years now, and I got some ideas, but anyway, it's pretty interesting. Anyway, I forgot to mention, I got lost in that story. 327, right? When I left that place, he handed me a pamphlet, and it was 216, and I immediately realized that 327 minus 216 is 111. And I thought, 327 has something to do with vortex fields, and so that's when I started studying those.
Russell also was asking, have you ever seen them eat anything?
I've never seen him eat anything, never seen him speak. I've just seen him mostly for just a few moments, but I did get to watch one for over 10 minutes one time and full view. And that was awesome. He was a 9-foot, I call him Big Red now.
Okay.
And he's a local. And I was walking towards him on the rails to trails, and I just kept walking towards him, and I was walking towards him for over 10 minutes, and he finally booked and left. But no, I haven't seen him.
Was he just watching you back? Just what was he doing?
He was there because I hadn't seen one for over 3 years, and I wanted to see one. Okay. So I think that's why he wanted to do it. Cool. Yeah. That's what happens when I thought about the tree going down. I didn't ask for it. I had just the thought. A lot of times that's how it comes. You'll just have the thought, gee, be cool to see a Sasquatch tonight. Yeah.
Yeah.
The next thing you know, you're seeing a Sasquatch.
Oh
By the way, the last one I saw was at my house. I'm pointing right at the direction where I saw it. It was about 30 feet away. I was on my deck, and it was a juvenile, and just cruised through just to give me a visual.
Oh, cool. Wow.
Yeah.
What do they, so do you think you have like a family living around you, or?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how he got to my house precisely, but I know where those live, I think, approximately where they hang out mostly. And it's about 2 miles from here.
Oh yeah, which is nothing really for them, right? I mean,
no, not for them. That's
do they? What do they look? What do they look like? Do they vary in, in their?
Yeah, the one I saw in Northern California was lean, 10 feet tall, but lean, but still the shoulders. Had the shoulders. Red, Big Red is fairly lean, but a little bit more bulky than the one I saw in Northern California. I saw a juvenile about 4 or 5 years ago, and he just looked like a roly-poly.
Oh, really?
Lots of bulk to that guy.
Yeah.
So they vary. My friend saw one on the Olympic Peninsula here, not the Olympic Peninsula. I mean the Long Beach Peninsula here a while back, and that one he said was very hunched over and looked like a gorilla. Oh, all right. So, they vary dramatically. Also the color, Big Red. The juvenile was black. The one in Northern California was sort of cinnamon colored. I saw one with blonde highlights.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was a young female. She left me mushroom.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but I didn't know what kind of mushroom. I didn't know anything about mushrooms then, so I left it there.
But yeah.
We're all good. We're all good.
Jay
now.
from Chiro Sounds has a question. Do you believe that Bigfoot and Sasquatch are the same, or do you think that they're different?
Oh, no, they're the same.
They're the same. Okay. And somebody had asked a while back, and I did want to explore this a little bit more. With you investigating in different geographical areas, do you find that, one area has, like similar characteristics than, and then some in another area? Have you found?
Yeah, I don't think I've gone wide enough to stretch beyond the ones that I encounter. They all pretty much, are the same, the ones that I encounter. But I do believe, like the Salish, I know they have 2 different kind that they talk about. And the big ones, the friendly ones, and then the shorter, meaner ones. So I think, continent wide, I think there might be 3 to 5 different species. I mean, there's Dogman. So I guess you'd have to call that another species, although I'm not sure how they're related.
Right.
If they are.
Right. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I just, I wanted to ask you something else, but go ahead, go on. Cause it just left my mind.
No. Oh, you lost it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Is there another question up?
Let me see.
No, there's none.
Yeah, we're good. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, then I'll talk about what I think is going on. Is I think they're guiding me to some information. I think I'm a conduit to inform the populace. I really believe that. Right now I'm working on a musical that's called Enchanted Valley. And Enchanted Valley is actually a valley up in the Olympic National Park. I've hiked Enchanted Valley all the way to the chalet and back. And so that's where the musical is going to be based, and it's going to have elementals and fae and little people.
Cool.
Little people. Oh, we got to talk about little people.
Yeah.
I saw that thing in your video.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I'm doing, but I write songs about them, and I write books about them.
Yeah.
That's Marcia K. Moore, by the way, that did the artwork.
Okay, yeah, because somebody had mentioned that it was interesting, and so so that was
Marcia K. Moore. She's the one that Brian Forster. He found those Peru, or he's investigated those Peru elongated heads, and she's the one that reconstructs the faces on those.
Wow. Okay.
So she's really talented, very talented. She just made a Sasquatch out of tires.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's amazing. Whoa.
She used to live in Washington, but now she's living over in North Carolina, I think now, somewhere over there.
Okay. Yeah. So, all right. So tell us, what about the little people?
Okay. Well, wow. I know my friend, I have a friend who saw one, and he just saw one. They had eye contact and booked into the bush, and that was it. Never saw it again. But that was at the Montana vortex.
Oh, okay.
A lot of crazy things happened there.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Now, I saw that one in your video, or it looked like one. I mean, the first thing I saw was the face. I'm looking at the face, and it's kind of moving a little, and I'm thinking it's a juvenile. But then I realized it's in the foreground. And then I realized, oh my gosh, there's a body there, and he's wearing clothes.
I gotta check that out. Whoa.
And he's clutching a staff. Oh gosh. Now, I don't know if anybody else can see that, because, it might be just for my benefit. Yeah. But I'm not. But yes, look for that. And, where you could see the big one in the middle. Mm-hmm. And then over to the right, it looked like there was another one hiding under there. Do you remember that? Well, to the left in the foreground, I think it was the last one you posted, but I'm not sure.
Okay,
but
I'll have to
to
check
the left
it out.
in the foreground is, well, I made a comment on that.
Yes, you did. That's right. That's right. So I'll check that out.
You can find that.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
And did he look like did he look cute? Did he look like human or?
Yeah. Okay, he looked like just a little guy. Just a little guy. I couldn't tell whether he just had like a good head of hair or if that was a cap.
Oh my gosh. This is seriously, remember the thing that I saw a while ago? It was like, and I said it was a gnome, and he walked out and had this little thing in his hand, like you said, like a little staff. Yeah. And then he looked like he had overalls on. He had bright blue eyes, bald head, big white. It looked like a beard. This is what I was, thinking.
He had a bald head, huh?
That's the one I think. I think he was bald, but I'm not positive. But I'm pretty sure it was a beard. I mean, just like you would think, like a gnome or whatever. And then he kind of looked, and then like, oh wait, I think she sees me or whatever, and then just went back in. So that's really cool if it showed up again.
See, I think what happens is the more contact you have, your abilities get a little more acute, and you can see those higher vibrational beings, where normally you couldn't, 20 years ago or whenever.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that, the cameras are different, and,
and that's true too.
The abilities. Wow.
Yeah. Check that out. And make sure you make a comment on that, because I'm just curious as hell if you can see it.
Yeah. I will. And then I'll have to find out. I'll have to find the one that, that I'm talking about from, I think it was a year ago. Russell Easterbrooks. Oh, he has so many great questions. Have you seen any whites in the eyes of Sasquatch, and any eye color?
Yeah, I've seen white. I haven't seen any other eye color, but I've seen eye shine with a group. There was a group of us at a friend's. She has a private campsite. And the reason why she purchased that, when she went to look at the property, a male and female Sasquatch walked right to the property, 30 feet away from her. And she said, okay, they want me to purchase this.
Wow, that's cool.
So anyway, that piece of property, I'm pretty sure, is on a ley line. In fact, there was a sensitive there that took me over because I'd gone and meditated between these two cedar trees, and I could put my shoulders in between them, so I was sitting there meditating. She said she could see this power just flying off of my body. And so she said, there must be some power line or something there. And then she found it. She sensed it. And then she took me over to this tree, and this tree had been struck by lightning. You could tell it had been struck by lightning at one time, which makes sense, right? Yeah. And she put her hand on it. And then she says, put your hand on it. And I put my hand on it. I could feel it. I could feel the power. I took my hand off, and it went away. I put my hand on it, and I could feel the power again.
Oh, that's cool. That's so cool.
So every time I've gone there, I haven't been there for a couple of years, but I went there like 10 or 11 times. And I think only one time nothing happened. Every other time saw UFOs, orbs, heard them, eye shine.
Yeah. Wow.
It's awesome.
With all the, what do you, we like to ask everybody, what do you think that they are? What is your opinion?
I wish I could ask him. I wish they could. I got to think we're closely related. We're very closely related. I know that, through the DNA evidence that I've seen, and there has been some out there, 99 point whatever human, that other small percentage, that's where their powers are, I guess, their strength and their powers, because they are amazing. But, and that's the thing. I think, they kind of refers to little brothers and stuff, as little brothers and sisters. And, I don't know. I got a feeling that they may have come from another planet, and that, that there was some mixing of us and them and ET and primates, local primates. And that's how we came about. But I really don't know. And I hate to speak to things that I don't know. You got to be careful about that.
When you started out with this, what did you think? Did you think they were just, like a flesh and blood kind of big ape? Just
absolutely.
Yeah, me too.
Well, even when I first started out, I didn't even believe him yet.
Yeah, right.
My buddy, I said, I'll give him a 50-50 chance.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where, and then every time something had happened, he says, what do you think now? Because he'd already seen one. And I said, well, now I'm a 70% chance.
Right. Wow.
And then eventually I heard one. And this is an interesting story. So I screamed out there, and I don't do that kind of thing anymore, by the way. I don't need to. I don't knock or scream or anything. I might reply to him once in a while.
Yeah.
And I did have a 20-minute plus exchange with a juvenile here about a month ago. That was really fun. We went back and forth, and finally I gave up. Okay, you get the last one. So he got the last one. Wow. But I forget what I was talking about now. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Started talking about that. But the scream. So I made a big scream. And when I screamed, there were some coyotes about a quarter of a mile away, and they started yapping, making a noise. And we're kind of laughing about it, and then he screamed. And his voice just filled that whole valley. And those coyotes shut the F up.
Whoa.
I mean, they just went,
yeah.
Don't want to mess with that. We're all quiet now. We're all quiet. And I turned to my buddy and I said, okay, I'm 110% believer. He sustained that call, and it was so loud. And it lasted for like 12 seconds. I mean, it was an enormously long call. And go out and call at the top of your lungs and see if you can call for longer than 4 seconds. It's very different.
Right. Yeah. So, because they really do. I was telling you, and I were talking about before the show, the ones that I heard in Gifford Pinchot National Forest, some of them sounded so human, but that was the thing. When I was listening to them, I'm like, there's no way a human cannot sustain this. Volume for that amount of time.
Yeah, it's the volume. Yeah. Wow. I mean, gosh, he was loud.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm looking at the cameras backwards.
Grizzly, did you want to ask him about the situation that you had? Grizzly was on a research trip recently with the one yelling a couple times.
Nobody's ever heard it. We had one scream at us, and it did it 5 times, and I've never heard it before. And it was just like, it was angry and mad, but I'd never heard it done before. And I've heard thousands of screams and howls and whatever, but this other guy, he's probably got 30 or 40 years on me in the woods. And no, he's heard it one time when he was younger, coon hunting. That tells you how far back he was. And his dogs didn't even like it. So I have no idea. So, and it was short. It was only like 3 seconds at a time. And that's what was very strange. It was just, I don't know, like, I have no idea. So,
yeah. But you thought he was angry about something. Do you think he was angry?
Oh yeah. No, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
And it was after he was putting everything up. That's what it was strange.
Yeah.
You know, after I shut everything down in the recorders. And as soon as we sat back down, it was just like, pow, pow.
Oh.
And we were like looking at each other. Yeah. And we were like, what's going on? And we just kept looking at each other in the dark. We were like, is he going to stop? So, yeah, it was very strange. So,
now I'm wondering if it was like, ha ha.
It was it was very wild, and it was extremely loud. So
I tried to shut my recorder off once because I made this, this special, relationship, and so I didn't do anything for 2 years. I just went out there and visited. And then I finally thought, well, maybe I can record their vocals, So I took a recorder out there and I turned it on and set it up, and I changed my mind. I went to take the recorder and it wouldn't go off.
Oh my gosh.
And as soon as I put it back up there, they started calling.
Wow.
So that was, I've had some
really cool
various electronic manipulation. Kind of cool.
Yes.
Yeah,
right?
That's that shows their power, their over energy. I mean, they probably detected from a distance that you had turned that instrument off and decided, okay, now I'm going to call.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Wow.
Crazy what they can do.
Yeah.
But I also didn't know they can remote view too. And I know that tree push down, I wanted one because I'm using real vocals and sound effects in my musical. And so I know they knew I wanted one.
Whoa.
That's
awesome. That is just great. Oh my gosh.
It is awesome.
Wow. Yeah. Does anybody have any final questions before I feel like, we'll have to have Russell back on in a few months, because this has just been, wow.
Let's wait for a rainy day though. Okay.
Yeah, right. Well, we rarely have those in the Pacific Northwest. So.
If you schedule for November.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, right. Yeah.
I pretty much not.
We want everyone to think that all it does is rain here and it's terrible. And yeah, Grizzly, do you have any?
No, it's been fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Grizzly. Nice meeting you both.
Yes, absolutely.
And there's the book.
Yeah.
And where can they find it?
Get it and read it. I'm working on my second one now.
Okay.
So
I
don't know if it's any crazier than this one. This one's pretty crazy. But
I gotta get it. So
I'm coming to more conclusions in my second book. I'm kind of figuring out what they want me to, convey. Let's say.
Oh. Nice.
And where can they find your book at?
Oh, it's Amazon.
Okay.
Barnes and Noble.
Okay.
Any of those.
Great.
And your website, and like I said, I'll put that, and then check them out on YouTube and Facebook, and because that's just fantastic. And Russell, and I'll contact you after the show to set you up for the next visit, but also we can continue our conversations.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, I'd like to especially talk about the little people. That's interesting to me that I saw that.
Yeah. We'll and then and what we can even when we bring you back, we'll talk about that. What else, like others, because there's so much to talk about, right? So, all right. Well, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you everybody for joining us today. This has been fantastic. And what do you say, Grizzly from Coast?
Don't forget tonight at 10 o'clock.
Oh yeah.
Part 2, the Goat Man from the backwoods, Kentucky. The lady's coming out, and I found out this is going back from generations that she's being stalked, not only by Goat Man herself, but her family as well. From coast to coast around the world. We'll see you at 10. Bye-bye.